Okay, so Muse. Here it is. We're going to hit create new when it comes up. Okay, and it's going to ask us a few things. So fluid width is responsive, basically. If you're building a site that's going to be a fixed width, like no matter what you do to the browser window, it's going to stay that width, which really you don't want. You would go fixed width, but we're not doing that. We're doing fluid, which means as we get smaller and bigger, the stuff is going to grow. Yep, it's going to grow and shrink with the page.
Does that matter with the phone?
The phone, you're going to want, well, that's the thing. Whatever you did for your prototype, you're going to want to put in here as the width. And for phone, yeah, app people, you're probably going to be wanting to do fixed width here. Wait. You can always change this later, so don't think, once you pick something you're done for. But the problem is, like, if you made it a fixed width of, say, 500 and you go on it with a screen that's 800, you may get a lot of empty space. So for now, I would say whether you're doing an app or a website, stick with fluid. Now I'm doing a website, so I'm going to make this 1280 because I want this to, that's going to be kind of the width that I'm starting out on. Okay, if you're wondering, like, that's the problem with mobile devices. They all have different widths and resolutions and stuff, but 980, you're looking, 1980 is kind of what would be the largest width for most websites. 1280, anything under 1280, you're looking at like tablets. And then anything under like 800 or 900, you're getting into mobile device territory. So people, you guys that are doing the mobile apps, I would probably stay around. Man,
750.
Yeah, whatever you did in the prototypes.
Does that sound right? 750?
Kinda, maybe. Let's hop in. So when you went into Marvel and you created a new project, when you created a project and you picked one of these, if you did Android, okay, well then you want to make sure your Muse is 1080. If you did iPhone 8, make sure your Muse is 750. If you did iPhone X, make sure your Muse project's 1125. So whatever the width was inside of this, you're going to want to keep it the same, because then you'll easily be able to pull in your assets, everything that you created. Okay. So I'm going to keep mine at 1280. Columns, just one, because I'm going to be clicking and dragging things around. Advanced settings, the minimum width, that's just the smallest it can get. Okay, and the minimum height, that's the smallest it can get height-wise. Margins, I'm really not going to change any of this. All of this is fine. But just showing you that it kind of exists. Like if you want to set up parameters like this will not get bigger than this, or it will not get as small as this, you can do that in here. All right, so first thing I would do here, I'm just going to create a new folder because I'm going to just start saving everything in here. This will be the Muse project. Well, what I'm going to be creating is like an 8-bit website, so I'm just going to call it 8-bit. You may want to call yours Final Project or Interface Design Final, whatever you want to call it, something that makes sense to you, or the name of the project that you're doing. And I'm going to save this in there. So file save as. So file save site as is what you want to do. And save it inside of 8-bit, and I will just call it 8-bit. Now, just like Photoshop has a PSD, Illustrator has a .ai, this has a .muse. That's its extension, is .muse. Kind of weird, but that's what it is.
Mine didn't have that pop up. The .muse, but
if not, probably because you're on a Mac, go into the folder and see if you have that. And some Macs are set up to not show the extensions, so it may just have the name, and that's fine, just as long as it recognizes it as a Muse file.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you're going to treat that Muse file just like you would a PSD. It's going to contain all of your files, all of your pages, everything you do, everything you can edit is going to be inside that Muse file. And then you just export it out when you're done. So you have the plan screen, you have design, and that's just what it sounds like. That's where you design your page. You click and drag things around, move things, and then you have preview. And preview is what it sounds like. You hit preview and it's going to take what you've created and crash. Okay? No. I don't know why sometimes this crashes, sometimes it works. It's kind of weird. But let me try that again. It may just be because there's nothing on it right now, but it should. Okay, it worked that time. It's just showing a blank screen. So you can quickly hit preview to get an idea of what it's going to look like in the browser. This is emulating like a browser environment and showing you what the page will look like. Okay, and then later on when you're done, you're going to export it as HTML. But we're way far away from that. Okay, so when we hit preview, it opened up preview in a new tab. We don't want that. We're just going to kill that, go back to home. Okay, now I want to go back to plan because this is where you add pages. So I know I'm going to have a home page. I'll have an about page. So I'm going to hit the little plus here. So that inserts a new page, and I'm going to call it about. Okay, and I'm going to create another page called contact. Okay, you guys need to have at least 4 pages.
What is the A master at the
That's actually where I was going next. So awesome question. A master tells you what template it's going off of. So this is a master page, and what that means, it's like a template page. So if I were to put a logo on this master page, it would put that logo on every one of these pages. So all the stuff that you want to be on all pages, you're going to put inside the master page. And I'm going to do that. So if you're like, what the heck are you talking about? You'll see that in a minute. Right now, all I'm doing is just setting up all the pages that I know I'm going to have on the site. So yeah, you do kind of have to have this pre-planned. You have to know what pages you're going to have so you can create them in here. And you can create other master pages. Maybe you have a home page with the logo and stuff that you want these to be pulling off of. And then maybe you have a products page or something, I don't know. And on the products page, you're going to have a contact form in the upper right-hand corner. So you could create another master's page with that contact form and then have other pages pulling off of that master page. We're not going to get that crazy. We're just going to stick with one. Okay, so there's different views. I don't really like this view. Maybe you would. You got size here. You can make them smaller or bigger. But I personally like this one. This one makes more sense to me, but it's the one that I always use. So, whatever. And, if you want to take, I guess the master badge tells you what master page it's pulling off of. You can turn that off. All right, so let me show you what I mean by the master. So to edit one of these pages, I'm going to edit the master one, so I'm going to double click. So now I can see right here I'm on the A master page. I'm not on home, I'm not on contact, I'm not about, I'm on the master page. And this is what controls what's going to be on the whole site. All right, so if I wanted to put in an image, you can go File, Place, or Control D, Command D probably on a Mac. And what this does, it puts something on the page. And I just realized I don't have what I need, so I have these images that I'm going to be using here for the site. So I'm going to just grab those and throw them inside my 8-bit folder.
What if I had a loading page? Like, I'm confused because I thought the master page is supposed to connect to all of the pages. It will, and you'll see how. Okay.
It's one of those things where you kind of need to see it. It makes a lot more sense when you see it, and you're about to. Okay, so I'm going to say File, Place. Okay, and I'm inside. I need to get inside of 8-bit. Okay, go inside my images. I'm going to place, this is going to be my logo. So I'll double click it. Here it is. I'm going to place it just kind of up here in the upper left. Good place for a logo. Massively huge. I don't want it to be big. So yeah, I can just kind of resize it inside of Muse. I want it to be about that big. He lives. Nice, Elliot. Way to be alive.
Way to be alive.
Yeah. All right, so I placed it on the master. So now when I come back to the plan view, you can see that it put it on all the pages. So it's the stuff that is going to be consistently on each page. That's what you put on the master page. Now if I come to the home and I double click home, I can't mess with this logo because it's a master item. It's like this is on every page, so you can't mess with it. You can't change it from the home page. You have to go back to the master page. So if I were to like move it over here, well, okay, it's moved on the home page now. And over here, it's moved on all these pages. So the stuff that's consistently on each page, navigation bar, logo, footer, whatever, that's what you're putting on the master page. Okay. Now, all the stuff that you can do to the things you put on your web page are usually up here. So just get very familiar and comfortable in Muse. Just keeping an eye out what's up here. This stuff, these are more property things, but if you want to change stuff and move things, change the fills and strokes and all that, it's all up here. So if I wanted this to go to the home page, I just click on it and come up here to hyperlinks. Click on it and nope, right here, my bad. So I'm going to click right here, add or filter links, and I'm going to say go home. So now this links to the home page. And that's pretty typical functionality for a logo. So you click on the image, you come up here where it says hyperlinks, click on the drop down right next to it, pick which page you want it to go to, and you're on your way. Any questions so far? Okay. Another thing you need to pay attention to is the resize. If you want something to resize as the browser is getting bigger and smaller, you need to make sure that resize is always responsive width and height. If I'm like, nah, I want the browser, or I want this logo to be the same size no matter what, I do none. Okay, and let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I go to preview, okay, it loads it, showing me what it's going to look like. As I make this smaller and bigger, you can see that the logo shrinks. It's responsive. So if I go, I'm not really a fan of that, because when the browser gets a little smaller, now the logo is just getting teeny, and I don't really like that. So I can come back here to design, click on that, and say, all right, resize none. I don't want it to resize. So now when I go back to preview and I start making this bigger or smaller, it stays the same size. That's really, really important with Muse, because there's some things that you're going to want shrinking and not shrinking and changing on the browser window depending on how big it is, and there's other stuff that you're going to be like, nope, this needs to just be the size that it's going to be. And by the way, it is clickable. So if I click on it, it takes me home. So that is one property that you'll be messing with a lot. I'm probably not going to be following this list. I'm going to be all over the place. Okay. All right.
So for each, basically you would do that for each image placed. If you want it to resize or not resize.
Yeah.
So if you had another one, you would, and it's clicked, you would click the lock.
Yep, you would. It just all just depends. And you'll figure that out through testing. You'll test it and say, okay, now this is good that it's resizing when it gets smaller and bigger, or you'll take a look at it and go, no, I don't really want it to do that. And this is one where like the logo, I kind of want the logo up in center in people's faces. So it's kind of like, nah, I'm probably going to not, I don't want it to resize. I want it to stay bigger. All right, so now in the plan, okay, we've already set up our pages, and that's important because now when we put in our navigation bar, it knows what pages exist and what to put in the navigation bar. Okay, so that's why it's kind of important that you create this first. So I'm going to go back to the master page because this nav bar I want to be everywhere. I want it to be on the whole page. So you come over here to widget library, and I would recommend that you spend a couple minutes just going through these to get an idea of what exists, because this is all the cool flashy stuff that Muse has built in. And we're going to do menus. Okay, we got horizontal menus and we have vertical. Nothing too flashy, but gets the job done. So I can click on horizontal. That's what I want because I'm going to put the navigation bar up here. Yeah.
Is it horizontal the drop down menu?
Nope. It is not a drop down. Well, actually, it might be able to drop down. We'll find out in a minute when we get it in there. I don't think there is a drop down you can do with accordions, which we're actually going to use kind of at the end. But we'll see. So I'm going to click and drag the horizontal out. Okay, and now it's on the page. And these are the options that I have. Close that. Now to get to the options of this menu, you're always going to have this little blue button. So if you click on that, it's going to give you the options for that. And this is where, if we could do drop downs, this is probably where it would be. But I have never done those. I don't think so. But I could be wrong. Well, if we had a bunch of other pages underneath, I'm guessing probably in this plan view. Yeah, you could, looks like, yeah, you could have like a sub page of the home page. Let me try that and see. I'll just call it sub page. See what that does. Okay, if I go back to design and I say all pages. Okay, that's what it's doing there. I don't know if that's going to be just ugly in there. Okay, it is. It does do drop downs. Now you're probably going, dude, this thing's ugly. Yeah, it is. Okay, and luckily we can mess with it and make it less ugly. All right, so okay, so you can do drop downs. You just have to go into your plan view and make kind of. You're going to have to do, yeah, like I just came down here. Let me get rid of that. I just press the little plus button underneath it, and that's what it says there. Click to insert a child page here. In other words, the whole parent-child thing is kind of weird sometimes, but child page, in other words, a sub page of home. So, and I didn't know that. So yay, that's how you do sub pages. So I'm going to go back into masters because this is dang ugly. So I'm going to click on it. Now in Muse, it's kind of fun because you got to be really precise in the places that you click on. Like if I just kind of click on it, it selects the whole thing. But if I want to change this nasty gray background and stuff, I have to select it individually. It's just kind of weird. So now that I've selected home individually, now it tells me that the fill is gray. So now I can come over here and say, I don't want to fill. Okay. Goes away. Okay, that's because my text is white. So I can come back over here and say, okay, I want my text to be black. Okay. Now it's not as ugly. Because now if I go to preview, Now I just have text here. Now I get the nasty gray when I mouse over it, and we'll be able to play with that in a minute, but at least it's starting to look a little better. So really all I'm trying to say is when you're clicking on things and you're selecting things, just keep an eye up here. And if you're not getting what you need, just click in like a different spot. Like right now I'm not getting that fill that I need, so I just kind of have to click again until I select one of them. And you can see they all kind of tie together. Whatever I do to one happens to the rest of them. But now that I get that, now I'm where I need to be. So now I can change the font, which we're going to do in a minute, and do whatever I want. Actually, yeah, let's do that now. So change the font. Okay. You have all the fonts that are kind of on your system. That's all kind of obvious. But we can come here to web fonts and we can say add web fonts. That's what I'm going to do here. We get 3 choices. The typekit fonts are the special fonts that only cool people get, that have the Creative Cloud memberships. I personally would recommend not using those, because if one day your Creative Cloud membership dies, yeah, that probably is going to make your fonts die too. You don't want that. And I don't know that for sure, but when I see that, I don't want to be tied into Adobe's ecosphere. I want to use a font that'll work no matter what. So Edge Web Fonts, totally free fonts hosted by Adobe. That's probably, where you would want to go. Self-hosted fonts, I thought were just, just grab a font file that you have and it'll work. And no, it didn't work that way. I had .ttfs and .otfs and they didn't work. Muse didn't touch them. They didn't do anything with them. So that was kind of frustrating. So anyways, you kind of figure out which one you want. So I'm going to hit get started. So we want to hang out in the Edge web because they're free. And they got a bunch. You can do searches if you know for which one you're going for. I did search for like video game. Nothing came up, which was ridiculous. I did a search for 8-bit. Nothing came up. So I couldn't, it was kind of hard for me to find a font that was actually matching what I was doing here. Now I did have this. I have these fonts here. Actually, let me show you, just show you how lame it is. So I'm in my 8-bit folder, throwing fonts in there. So these are actually a bunch of fonts that are 8-bit, and they look really cool. They do a good job. So I come over here to self-hosted, and then I browse. I go to 8-bit, go inside of fonts, and it doesn't recognize any of them, which is kind of crazy to me. So I select that folder. No web font files were found. Well, then you're dumb, Muse, because there's 4 of them right there. So for some reason, it doesn't work with all fonts. It only works with these, I guess. WOFFs, EOTs, and I've messed with a ton of fonts. I've never seen these types. It's always TTF or OTFs. So whatever, self-hosted to me is worthless and doesn't do crap. So we're kind of at Edge Web Fonts, the mercy of that. Bangers, that looks great. So I'm going to click on that, hit OK. 1 font family added, sweet. So now I got the stuff selected. Now I just got to pick bangers. Bam. There we go. Okay, and then I want a little bit bigger.
It's like a italicized impact.
Makes me think it has a comic feel to me.
Yeah. Almost meme worthy.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen that too?
Is it out?
It's supposed to be out.
I don't think it's out yet.
Soon.
But yeah, it looks pretty good.
All right, so that was it. Just that's what you do as fonts. You can get your web fonts there. You're kind of at Adobe's mercy, and I'm not a huge fan of that. And that's the thing. And that's the kind of stuff you're going to run into with stuff like Muse, where you're not going to have total and utter complete control over this. Well, I guess you will once you export it. and you get the code. You can get in there and mess with it. Okay, so that's fonts. You just click in there, pick the one you want, and go from there. States. So if you select the whole thing, it says no states. But if you select one of the individual ones, now you can mess with the states. The states are what it does when you roll over, what it does when you click on it, and what it does when it shows like an active page. Like when you're on the home page, home is going to look like this. When you're on the about page, about is going to look like this. So that shows you, the active page that you're on. Okay, so I'm going to click on rollover. No, I don't like that gray. I'm going to get rid of the gray. So no fill. I'm going to come over here and change the text to red. Actually, does it have the... Oh yeah, has the eyedropper. Cool. So I can click on the eyedropper and I'm just going to grab the red from the heart. Or maybe not. I thought it would let me do that. Sad. Sad day. That's weird. Oh well. Okay, so we'll stick with red there. Okay, and so that's for the rollover. The mouse down. So when I click on it, I'm just going to keep it red. So I'm going to get rid of the fill. Just keep it red. I really don't want it to change when I click on it. I think that's kind of weird. Well, it's not, well, maybe. We'll just make it like a little darker red, actually. Because it is kind of cool when you click on it and it flashes a little bit. It gives you that visual cue that, hey, something happened. So that's kind of cool. Okay, and then active, that's just what it's going to look like when you're on the home page, or if you're on the about page, this is what about's going to look like. If you're on the contact page, this is what the contact's going to look like. I'm just going to keep it red. And look, it went back to the nasty Helvetica. So fill, no.
Wait, so for each one you have to edit?
I think it does it to all of them. But I may be eating my words here in a minute.
I'm talking about each option under menu item.
Yes. You need to define what it does when it's just sitting there, what it does when you roll over, what it does when you click, and what it does when you're on that page.
So if I want it to be the same on mouse down, I just keep it the same?
Yep, you just keep it the same. Yep.
Okay.
So when I'm on the home page, I'm going to have home be highlighted. That's what active does. So I'm doing a lot of red here. Ooh, you can have it transition. Actually, yeah, that could be kind of cool, maybe. Yeah, I'm going to do the transition there just for fun. I'm guessing what that's going to do is when I mouse over it, it will transition into the red. So let's do like 0.6 seconds there. Let's see what it did here on about. Yep, did the same stuff on about, which is good. But it didn't do the fade, which is kind of weird. It does everything but the fade. All right, so I got, the heck, 0.7. We'll keep it at 0.7 on all of them. So about, do the fade, 0.7, contact, all that, 0.7. Okay, cool. So yeah, what I'd recommend is just as you're doing this stuff, save it, test it, do some more stuff, save it, test it. Okay, so I'm going to test it. Go to preview here. So I mouse over, yep, and it is doing that fading in and out, which is cool. Makes it a little bit better. Okay, click on it. Goes to home, mouse over about, click on it, goes to about, and now that I'm on the about page, it highlights about. That's what the active does. So now I get this visual cue. I can easily look up to the home or look up to the navigation bar and know what page I'm on. Click on contact, takes me to contact. Contact stays selected. So again, that's what that active state does. And you can always test the responsiveness by, moving this smaller. Okay, Command minus, Control plus, zooms in and out. That's pretty typical. You can come up here, mess with the zoom. All right, now up here, got to pay attention to that. That's pixels. So remember, I put 1280 as the width. So this is going to be the width of the site. I can test the responsiveness of it by doing this as well, clicking and dragging on this little bar.
Did you set all of this on the master page?
I did, and I am still on the master page. Yep. If you decide that 1280 is too big and you need it to be smaller, you can double click that little square there, and that'll bring up basically all the stuff you saw when you first created it for the first time. So if you're like, you know what, I don't want it to be fluid, well, you double click that bar, that box, whatever you want to call it, and then you can choose fixed. And then mess around with all this stuff and then just hit OK. So really, as you're creating this, what you need to be doing is just continually kind of messing with the width and just see what it looks like. Like that still looks good, but when I get to about here, things are starting to get pretty squished. Okay, and that's where I'm going to want to start messing with some things, but we're going to do that later. And that's what's called breakpoints. So if I come down here and I click on this plus thing, it's a breakpoint, and that breakpoint says, okay, at this width, if I go above it, I'm going to look like this. If I go below it, I'm going to look like something different that I define later. If you're messing with this, you can just click, and that'll put you back up to the width. Also, I think you can just click right up here. Yep, that'll bring you back up to the full width. Okay, now right now, okay, so these little arrows here are kind of important too. Like this is kind of the break point. This is like the widest it can go. So if I try to make this more than 1280, it goes, okay, whatever, I'm wider than 1280, but the site still stays at 1280 wide, even though the browser is bigger. Like the browser is wider than 1280 right now. But if I were to click on this, it now lets me know that, okay, I can go more than 1280. So as I go more than 1280, everything's going to continue to expand. Okay, those get further apart from each other, and all the content that I have on here would be responsive as well. Okay, but if I want to constrain that at 1280, I just click on that, make sure the arrows are pointing in, and then if the browser goes bigger, it doesn't matter. It stays at 1280. And again, that's up to you on how you want your design to follow that. All right, so I'm gonna throw some more stuff on here. So file place. Throw Mario on there. We love Mario. Put him wherever I want. Shrink him down. Okay, and this is going to be like my content. I'm going to have kind of an image of Mario here. Okay, and then do I want him to resize or not? I probably don't want him to resize either. I'm going to say file place, throw in Mega Man, put him kind of over here, resize him. Okay, and that's kind of cool too. You'll see those lines, so you can make them the exact same height. Okay, put him right there. Don't resize him. Then I'll just grab text and click and drag a box, and I can start typing in it. Mario is awesome. Whatever I'm going to say. I don't know if you've heard of filler text before, lorem ipsum, but this is a great use of that. Come to this amazing generator. Get a paragraph of it. Bam. Just use this to kind of get an idea of what it would look like with text. So this is where we're getting into the Photoshoppiness of Muse. You're just clicking and dragging, putting text on there. If you want the box to be bigger or smaller, you just kind of resize. If I need to move Mega Man over, I move him over. And all of this will be generated in the HTML and CSS that you kick out of this. So you are like literally clicking and dragging to build a website right here. Okay, and I got Mega Man, this. Yeah, don't want to stretch that to browser width. Okay, it just like blew up. I do want the text to have a responsive width though. Now I'm starting to get kind of squished, so I can come down here, make this a little bigger. And it's kind of cool, it'll tell you what this is. This is the bottom of the browser. Well, that isn't really going to affect anything. This is the bottom of the page. Yeah, I want that to be down a little bit more. And the browser window, we'll just have it kind of be right there. This is the footer. So if I'm going to have anything inside the footer, I could just have it right in here, which I'm not going to do anything with the footer. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of move Mario and everything down a little bit more. I just wanted a little bit more space. It's pretty simple. I just kind of pull things in. So I can preview that. So there's the page. I grow, or I can kind of scroll up and down here and get an idea of what happens when I make it smaller. And it starts falling over each other. We start having some issues. So we're going to need to start doing some breakpoints with that. But we'll get into that later. All right, background images. You can do browser fill if you want to just do a color. Simple enough. Make people's eyes bleed, maybe. I don't know. But I don't want to do an image. I want to do, or I don't want to do a color. I'm going to do a picture here. So you click on it. This isn't very intuitive, but you click on browser fill. and then you add the image. I'm going to do this GIF. Booyah. Of Portal. Now the position, I want it to be kind of in the center. I don't want it to tile because that's disgusting. You can scale the fill, which will make it as big as it needs to be to fill the page, or I can do scale the fit, and that will scale to fit so the whole image is there.
Put a color in the background.
Yeah, I think I could do both. Yep. So I can have this image and a color if I want. Okay, or if I want it up a little bit more, I can tell it to go up here. I can tell it to go down there. Okay, so I can position the background, you know, in these basically 3 different spots. Now I kind of want it to be there in the middle. And then scrolling is just that. When it's checked, the background image is going to scroll with the page. So right now it is scrolling. In other words, if I come over here and hit preview and I scroll down, the image scrolls up with the page. If I don't want that, I uncheck scrolling, and so when I load it, it just kind of stays there. So it all depends if you want the background image to be moving or not. And I like this more. So I'm going to uncheck scrolling. I get it, this is busy. It's not good for a background image, but it's kind of cool Portal 8-bit thing. This would be good maybe more for like a banner. Okay, and actually I can show you how to do that. It's pretty simple. So let's say I don't want this as the background for the browser or for the thing here. I'm going to get rid of it. And maybe I just want to draw a section here where I want Portal to show up. Okay, so pretty simple. Just grab this square, draw it. Okay, let go. This is basically just created a div. I just created a div on the page. Okay, then once it's selected, is it selected? There we go. Wait, I thought, oh wait, is it here, fill? Yeah. So I go to the fill, and I'm going to fill this with that image of Portal.
So you're still on the master's page.
Yep. Yeah.
Whatever you want on all pages, you do it.
Yep. And so to be honest, I shouldn't be right now actually, because this isn't going to be on the master page. This is going to be on the home.
If you were okay, so
we can fix that. Well, we'll fix it really quick after I throw this in here.
okay, I'm sorry.
No worries. It's actually really good you brought that up because I actually did this when I was going through this last night. But yeah, right now I'm doing this to the master page, which that's bad because now if I go to plan, it's on all the pages and I don't want that. But that's okay. It's actually really, really easy to fix. So I'm going to throw Portal in here really quick. So I drew the rectangle. I come here to fill. I'm going to add an image to it. I'm going to add the Portal. It does kind of the same thing that it did before. So I'm going to say scale the fit. We can kind of put it in the middle there if we wanted. Or I can do scale the fill. No, I'm going to stick with the fit. Throw it there in the middle. And that's it, really. Okay, so then I got it there. Now when I preview it, it's there, and as I scroll, it'll go away. So this works a lot better. I kind of defined the area where I wanted it. Now it works more like a banner, and it just looks a lot better than as like a background image. Okay, so these are things that I want on the home page. So I'm going to go to the select. I'm going to kind of click and drag, select all this stuff, cut it, Control X, Command X, go to plan, come over here to the home page, double click. Is there paste in place? That'd be cool. Yeah, there is. Paste in place, bam. And that puts it exactly where, in the exact same position that I copied it from, or cut it from. So that was perfect. If I wouldn't have pasted into place, it would have done that. It just would have kind of stuck it in some weird spot, and then I would have had to use the arrow tools If I'm holding shift arrow, it goes faster. If I just do the arrows, it only goes pixel by pixel here. But I didn't want that. I just did paste into place there. And it put it in the exact same spot that I copied it from or cut it from. If you've done anything in Flash, it's the same thing. So now it's on the home. So when I go to plan, this is what the home page looks like. Okay. But the rest of the pages haven't been done yet. What if you can do padding and stuff? I'm not sure how to do padding. I'm sure there's some way. Anyway, so now if we preview it, homepage looks like that. I go to about, it's blank. Go to contact, it's blank. Go back home, has that stuff on it. Now, if you're kind of sick of the preview and you're like, well, I actually want to see what it's really going to look like, you can do File, Preview, and Browser. And that's, you know, when, you know, crap just got real. So this is exactly what it would look like in Chrome. So if I were to open this in a browser, this is exactly what I would get. And that, I don't know, this is may or may not be good. Depends on what you're trying to get here. All right, if I select the font, we have effects here. You can give the font a shadow if you want. This is like font-shadow in CSS. I can give it a kind of a black type font shadow. You usually only want to do this for like readability. The opacity, you can mess with that.
And for boxes. I saw that when I was like doing some like research on apps and just kind of looking at the layout.
Yeah.
And they made, you know, like let's just say like that picture right there or the logo, like they would make it look kind of through, like they had the
like
shadow.
a 3D kind of
just
yeah.
a little. You couldn't even, I mean, you couldn't tell unless you were looking at the detail, you know.
Yeah.
Extremely.
It gives it kind of gives it depth, which is nice. Yeah. But that's what's under effects, really. It's just the shadow, or, well, actually, I think this is more for the squares. Yeah. Well, actually, can I? Yeah, I can put glows on it and bevels and, you know, whatever. Play around with those if needed, if you feel the desire. Okay, let's see here. All right, so let's say I wanted the, oh wait, I need to go back to the master page. So that's the other thing. If you're sitting here going, I can't click on it, it's because you're not on the master page. Okay, you're trying to edit stuff that's on the master page and you're not on there. Let's go back to plan, head over to master, double click. So let's say I wanted this nav bar to be stationary. I don't want it to move when people are scrolling up and down. Just pin it. That'll make it fixed. So I'm going to pin it here in the upper right hand corner. Okay, so now when I preview it and I scroll, okay, it doesn't move. It's now fixed. If you're wondering where the crap is the content, I previewed the master page, not the home page. So if I go here to home, there's the content. Now if I scroll, right, it stays. But don't want that, so I'm unpinning. And we're gonna learn, we'll run into a lot of stuff, like actually I just ran into that. The text went over the nav bar. So where's the Z index, right? Not sure. I couldn't tell you. So a lot of this stuff that we're gonna run into that we don't know, we're gonna ask Google and we'll figure out what Google says.
Google or YouTube?
Or YouTube. YouTube sometimes is smart. Okay. Oh, I actually just answered it on my notes.
We can put code in here as well. Right?
Layers. So if I wanted this nav bar to be in front, I would just, I would just create a layer, create a new layer, put the nav bar on that layer, and make sure that the layer is on top. Yep. That's funny. We're getting there, guys. Don't worry. Be strong. Okay, so now we're going to head to About and play around with some more widgets. So widgets library, I'm going to throw in a slideshow. So this is kind of what you would think, just a slideshow of images. I will throw in...
Does that count as like a video?
This is more like a gallery. This is more like a photo gallery.
So you will show us how to put up like YouTube videos and stuff.
Social YouTube.
Cool. And you can just
click and drag.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so you just click and drag that widget on there.
Nice.
And then
this is about to change my world. Like this is like awesome.
So if we were to add code in here, what exactly would it be?
You can add code in Muse.
I've seen it somewhere. You could like there's like a HTML you could add.
Then you show me when you see it again.
You saw XD or.
Because that's kind of from what I understand, like that's the beauty of Muse, whether you like that or not, is you can't mess with the code. Now I could say file, and we're going to do this at the end, export as HTML. That'll export the whole project out. Then I can go into those pages and mess around with them.
In brackets.
Yeah, in brackets, exactly. But
it was something
to do it in here, I do not know how, and I don't think you can, unless maybe there's like a plugin or something that allows you to.
Yeah, that's.
But I don't know.
I think I used that to input the store into that one page.
There is a plugin for Muse to do a store. I know that. But the only ones I could find, you had to pay money.
Yeah, it was something for free, but I couldn't do. It was limited.
Yeah, when you find it, let me know. That'd be awesome. I would totally want to see. I would want to see that. Anyway, so with the YouTube, I clicked and dragged it out, right? So now here it is. It just loaded this one kind of just as a placeholder. But now I can click on that blue button, get its options, throw in the video ID. If you're going, what the crap is a video ID? Every YouTube video has an ID. So if I go to YouTube and I run Dr. Phil Loses It with a little girl.
All right.
Oh, man. Okay, this is the ID right there. So
do you get that when you scroll down? You know, like...
No, you just get it up here.
It's the thing that equals.
Whatever. Yep. Okay. The V equals, that's the ID. Yeah, you could get it down here. I mean, I could say share, it's that as well.
No, okay.
That little funky number thing at the end there. So you can either get, well, I don't know, that kind of, no, yeah. It forces you to grab the whole thing, which I don't want. I just want this thing right here. So I can copy that.
It's under object. It's insert HTML.
Okay, we'll look at it in 2 seconds. So now I throw in the new ID. Now we should get some sweet Dr. Phil action going on. Yep, well, there we go. Okay, so now when I preview, I know, yeah, she does. It makes you want to smack her, right?
Whoa!
So there she is. You hit play.
All right, what's going on, guys? It's just us.
So yeah, pretty cool. And then, yeah, you can kind of resize. So you could have multiple videos on here if you wanted.
Now I'm really mad that these people are taking away
girls. They're similar.
Okay, so I need to start like busting out some websites like fast, like making a bunch of money.
Like I said, I don't think Muse is going anywhere for a few years.
Okay.
Because Muse will not, it will never be useless until like web standards change so much to where the way Muse used to do it no longer is good. Right. And that's not gonna happen for a long time.
They're trying to adapt and evolve, which is why they're kind of like moving on.
Yeah. So Brianna, what did you see about something about object?
Object and insert HTML all at the bottom.
Okay, hold on. I need to get off that. So object, insert HTML. So I'm just gonna throw in an A tag real quick and just see what that does.
I am better at the store in this, but I didn't know if you could do anything else.
Interesting. Okay.
We
So
learn something new every day.
yeah, you can have little sections that have your
You can
own
just type it
code
out.
in there.
You could literally just type it out there.
Yeah.
No,
I've been
I
trying to
mean
work
like
with this.
on the using the type tool.
You just blew Dave's mind.
So when I did insert HTML, it came up with
Yeah,
this,
I bet it's a store.
and you put your code in
I
there.
was like, ooh, what else can we do with this?
Maybe like I guess you could use, let's say if there was some specific like border or something for some picture, you know, and it's not on here. Maybe you could use the code for that. I don't know.
Well, like this is for external stuff. So if I wanted to write my own code and have whatever I coded show up inside of here, then I'd do that. But if I wanted to mess with this,
Yeah, it won't work.
yeah, it's like extra stuff that you put in.
Like what? Like could you put in like
You could embed.
like let's say you wanted the website to be able to like email out to my email.
Yeah, if I had all the code and all the PHP and everything that I'd want to throw inside of here, it probably would work. The problem is though, it's HTML. I don't know if this allows PHP. Let's try echo hi. I don't know if this is going to make it explode or not. Yeah, so it doesn't support PHP in here.
So you couldn't.
So
What about CSS?
You know, I'm about to make a bunch of websites for people.
Ha!
Do this.
Let's see.
it seems to be ignoring the CSS.
Basic stuff.
Unless I did it wrong. I don't think so. So yeah, this seems to be just like, oh, I want to throw in a link here, or I want to throw in an iframe here, or I want to throw in a table here, or a div, or whatever. This seems to be kind of basic stuff, or pre-existing code from sometimes, you know, well, I don't know if it would do scripts either. I don't know. If you go to some website and you want to embed something and they're like, here's the code to do it, you could try it this way. I don't know though how well it would work though. Let's see, object. But that's good to know. It's good to know. So anyways, yeah, you can throw in a bunch of YouTube videos here if you wanted. So let's go to the other widget. We're going to do slideshows. So we'll do Lightbox one. So I can click and drag this out. Now you're kind of at the mercy of the widget. If the widget can do it, great. You can do it. If it can't, then you can't. So I'm going to grab this, shrink it down. Now the crazy thing about these widgets, they're all kind of in different pieces. So I got my thumbnail container here, moving that. I have the gallery container here. So if I wanted to, I could have the thumbnails be on the top or bottom, just click and drag around. Yeah, I don't know if you can rotate it. Yeah, it's not that Photoshoppy. But anyways, I can click on the blue button here, and this is all the options for this gallery. So I'm going to add images. I'm just going to use these. Okay, so now they're in there. And then it's just, you go in here and do what you want to do here. So fit frame proportionally, whatever the heck that means. I don't know. Fit or fill frame. I guess that's going to fit the contents. New thumbnails, I'll say fit. Transition fade, transition speed. Do I want this to autoplay? No. Shuffle, nah. Enable swipe, yeah, why not? Just, you know, all the different stuff you want to do. These are the different buttons. So first, previous, next, last, captions. Do I want captions for each of these? I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Just tons of different options here for that. Okay, and then when I preview, okay, YouTube over there, and now when I click, it functions as a lightbox. And I am missing a bunch of stuff. I must, oh, because it's down here. So there's the caption. There's the one that tells me what image I'm at. That's how I cycle through the different images. So if I wanted a caption for the Mega Man one, I'd click on Mega Man, get it to show up, put in the caption. I heart 8-bit, and so forth. Preview it. Okay, that was weird. So there's the caption. I kind of cycled through.
Oh.
Okay.
Everybody's using Muse.
All the cool kids.
I know. I've seen. That has to be.
Anyways. So the thumbnails, if I want them to be bigger, well, okay. All right, yeah. So if I want the thumbnails to fit, I don't know. Like I said, this is gonna be a lot of playing around to get and that you'll get frustrated. I'll already tell you that. There will be times where you're gonna go, I'm just trying to do this, and it'll get a little nuts, but it's okay. Take a deep breath.
So why is that one big underneath it? Is it because that the I heart 8-bit, is it highlighted right now, or?
This is where this part?
Yeah.
This is gonna where the light box is gonna show up. So if I kind of bring it over here and preview it, wait a couple of years here. Light box, just kidding. I thought it would show up over here.
Did you just draw a box, I'm guessing? Or
No,
like
it just came with it. When I clicked and dragged out the widget, it just came with all these pieces.
Oh.
So that's weird. I guess it's probably positioned with the CSS to be kind of in the middle of the screen, and that's fine. So I would just want to kind of put this stuff where I'd want it to be. And you can customize all this stuff. Like, you know, if I want this to not be gray, I thought I could anyways. Yeah, I can select that, change the color, make it red. You know, so now these are red. I mean, you can customize all these different pieces of the light box that you're using. I think, yeah, so this is basically considered text, I think. So yeah, I could go in here and change it to freaking bangers, man. There you go. Make it bigger. So yeah, all of these different things that you can click on are customizable.
So, you know when you export out with HTML and you said that it's going to be, on the HTML part, it's not going to say .muse.
No, it won't.
It will just be like...
Just like what you would create normally. And you'll see that'll be one of the last things we do. But yeah, when we export this, the Muse file will still be there, but we'll have an HTML file. For each page, we'll have a CSS stuff. We'll have JavaScript. We'll have all this crazy stuff that it exports. And you'll see that. Okay. So yeah, there you go for that. Let's head over to contact. So I'll go back here to plan, head into contact, show you another pretty cool widget. This one kind of makes me go, wow, really? Because to make this takes a while. So you got forms, simple contact, click and drag over. You know, have a contact form, okay? And of course, you know, you can get in here, just like I've showed you before, get in here, mess with the colors and the font and all that stuff. But the one thing, if you took the intermediate class, we talked about CAPTCHAs, okay, and we actually applied one. And this, I'm not gonna lie, this one kind of made me a little sick because I'm like, it's just how easy Muse made it. Because dude, like a lot of this stuff I've been doing manually for such a long time.
You can drag it together.
And now, like with Muse, in a couple clicks, something that would take half hour to an hour to create on your own, in a couple clicks, Muse has it done. And it's like, oh, seriously. So I can click here, go to the options. You can come down here. No, come on.
Expand it.
Dang it. Maybe if we zoom out, I don't have enough room here. Okay, CAPTCHA. So CAPTCHA, I can say 2.0. Are you freaking kidding me? Now it's there. Now you have to go on there and get a CAPTCHA account and stuff. And if this is something you want to do, talk to me individually, and I'll show you how.
Who cares? What's up with that?
But this is so you don't get spammed.
Yeah.
If you have a contact page on your website and you don't have any type of verification, you're going to get spammed like crazy. So this is how they click that box, says I'm not a robot. So in other words, they're not spamming you. They prove they're a human, and then they fill it out, and then you get the email. And so the email that you get is actually real. So I can show you how to do this if this is what you want to do. Let me know, because you go in there, you sign up for an account, they give you a public and private key, and you put it in there, and you're done. It's freaking simple. And to code this out, we take a whole class. I mean, it takes me a whole class to show students how to do this. So it's a good grunt that I just did. It's like, wow, good job, Muse, for making it easy, but man, it's nuts. Okay, so same thing. You can come over to the name, change the font and the color, all that. You can change the background color of these contact forms. You can see, where was that? Yep, require entry, so they have to put in the name. Come over here, make that required. You know, a bunch of different things you can do there. It's nuts. Okay, let's see. We kind of already talked about these, the social widgets. So we did the YouTube one, but there's PayPal. So if you got stuff that people can buy, throw that in there. There's LinkedIn, you know, Google Plus, Google Maps. You can throw a Google Map in there. Facebook comments. It gets a little ridiculous. If you got a website that you're building, you know, for someone, and it's really important that people follow them on Facebook, there you go. You got the follow button right there. Facebook like button. Adobe Muse badge, which no one's going to use because that's stupid. Okay, to like say, oh, who cares if it's made with Muse? Like, whatever. Okay. Pinterest, there we go. Twitter, Vimeo, and YouTube. Okay, that's it. But a bunch of cool, the social stuff that you can put in there. So if I wanted to like, just click and drag it out, just like all of them, and then you just kind of have to fill out the information. So what is the action? Like or recommend. The URL that you want them to like, so the Adobe page that you want. Look what they do, those little jerks. They put in the Facebook Adobe Muse page. Whatever, that's funny. Okay, anyways, if you want it there, you can do it, but I don't, so I'm going to delete it. Okay, last part here really is how to start making this responsive. So I'm going to head over.
What do you mean by was like how does the message get sent to my email?
So if I click that, it's just an option you do. So I click on the whole contact form. And again, that's what I was talking about. You got to be careful where you're clicking. So I'm going to click on the whole form, if it will let me. There we go. Go to the options, and then you say, okay, this is the form name. This is who it gets emailed to. Okay, after sending, what do you want to do? You can stay on the current page. You can go to the home page. You can do whatever you want there. You can link to a file, give them a file for some reason. Yeah. The different fields. So maybe you want their cell phone. Maybe you want their home phone. Maybe you want their address. Maybe you want their company.
I'm like, stalker.
And then they're going to start going, what the heck's wrong with you, right?
Work address?
Yeah, you want to know where they work for some reason. You need to want to know their website.
No, I'm just kidding.
You can add custom fields. So you're like, you know what, I don't want to know any of that stuff, but I do want to know some custom things like, hey, check these check boxes. And yeah.
At like something like live chat?
This is awesome.
I'm sure there's probably a widget that does that, but I have not used it. So talking about widgets, we should probably hop into that real quick. You can Google Muse widgets. And there's this like musewidgets.com. There's repositories and stuff. There's a bunch of, like I said, kind of at the beginning, there's a lot of companies that depend on Muse, and that's how they get their money, is they sell these widgets that they've created. Now that Muse is going away, they're probably pretty angry.
It's not.
So we could say live chat. I don't know. Maybe they'll have something. Maybe they won't. Okay, so they got Zopen for $6. They got plain free. So I've only seen a couple of videos on this. So if I wanted this one, I would say get this widget. And then it's going to take you out to their website usually. But I really don't know what replaying does. Does it do chat? Okay, modern chat that sends messages to the Telegram app. So that could be kind of stupid. Because if they don't have the Telegram app, who cares? But most of them will tell you how to do this. Okay, so it'll walk you through how to do it. But this one kind of seems dumb because it seems like it depends on this Telegram app, which you don't really want. Now I do know...
The other ones are pretty cheap. So.
No, I know these are legit chat programs that I've seen on websites, you know.
Yeah.
But they charge you. Okay. So if you want extra functionality, you're really going to need to get out there and see if there's a widget for it. If not, just sorry, probably, you know, you're not going to be able to do it with Muse. Okay, so anyways, let's go back and start figuring out how to do this and make it kind of responsive, right? So I'm going to just go to the home page. So what I need to do is kind of zoom out a little bit, and I need to start squishing this down. Okay, still looks pretty good, still looks pretty good. Still, okay, we're getting close, right? That text is starting to squish Mega Man here, right? So you start getting to the point where things are starting to overlap. Once that happens, you need to hit a breakpoint. So I click this breakpoint, and now it knows, okay, if anything's over 11:15, this is how I'm going to have it look. Once I get to this breakpoint here, now I need to start switching things up.
This is probably from my website.
Yep. For mobile stuff, not really. But man, if you do websites for people in Muse, you got to know this. So now when I get here, I need to kind of start rearranging things. And actually, I haven't done a whole lot with this, so we'll see if this works. So I need to start kind of giving them a little bit more space. Squish these up a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be enough. We'll see. Okay, it is. So you can see now when it's here, it's fine. It's starting to get squished. The minute it hits this point, boom, things change. And what I just did goes into effect. And I start getting smaller, smaller, smaller. Everything still looks okay, looks okay, looks okay. You can see the portal's starting to shrink. That's fine. Okay, I'm just, you know, so maybe I wanted these to stack at a certain point. So yeah, probably right when Mario starts to get taken over. So right there, I want to add another breakpoint. So I add the breakpoint, and now I start moving things around like how I want them to look. Well, I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to have these stack now. So I'm going to grab Mega Man. I'm going to put him over here. I'm going to grab the text, put it like this, and I have it stretched out. This is the Mega Man text, so I'm going to stretch that out a little bit and bring that down. Okay, and now I've just given myself a lot more room to work with again. So Mario's there, Mega Man's there. Okay, so over here, it looks fine. It hits that breakpoint, gives me a little bit more space, hits that next breakpoint, boom, now they stack. So you start adding breakpoints and you start putting them where you want them to be.
So that could be like, hey, from like, you know, looking at the internet on your phone to like look like. I mean, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is what it would look like on my computer, but the minute I get on a device that's lower than 853 pixels wide, it's going to look like that. Okay, things are starting to squish and stack. Okay, so I keep going. Okay, portal's getting a little smaller. That's okay. I'm not a big, it doesn't matter to me. So about here, things are starting to overlap again. So I want to add another breakpoint. So I add the breakpoint, and now this would be basically like mobile view. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you is kind of how to do a mobile navigation bar. And it's okay. It's not amazing. Muse, there were some widgets that do this, but I couldn't find any that were free. So, yeah. So what I want is when it gets 585 pixels or lower, I want this main nav bar to just go away. So I'm inside of this view, the 585. I'm going to right click this and I'm going to say, actually, I got to select it, I think, here. Oh, crap. I got to do this in the master. Did that? Ooh. Did that carry over? I don't know. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I don't know if those breakpoints carry over to the master, and it does not. So that's okay. I'm going to go to home. I know at 585, this is when I want it to happen. So I go to the master here, and I'm going to go over to 585. I don't know if I can just type it in. Can I? No, I don't think so. All right, so actually here I'm going to delete that breakpoint because I don't care about the 585 on home, but on the master I do. So it needs to be somewhere around 585. So I'm down here, I'm getting into it. So let's just 588, that's fine. So I'm going to add that breakpoint. Now at 588, I want this to disappear and I want it to be a drop down. And so you app people, you're probably going to want to know how to do this. So I come over here, it's fine. When I get to 588, I'm going to select this. Okay, and I'm going to right click and say hide in breakpoint. So when I get to 588, it's hidden, it's gone. But when I'm above 588, it's there. So I get down to 588, it's gone because I told it to hide. If you're like, I want it to come back, how the crap do I get it back? It's in layers. Okay, you come into layers, you can see that it's hidden. So I just click on that and it comes back.
But that little box up there beside 588, that's how you added it to disappear.
This box here?
Yeah.
That's just how I can get back to the main width. And if I double click that, it'll bring up the properties. I have no idea if I just answered your question there.
You did.
Okay.
Because I was wrong.
Okay. And it's kind of cool because it'll highlight which breakpoint you're in. Right now I'm in the 1281. Okay, now I'm in the 588. If I want to go full width 588, I just click on that, brings it out. So now I don't have any navigation. Okay, well there's this kind of weird thing I learned here before you guys showed up that I don't know. It's just a weird hack to me in a way. So I'm going to go widgets, library, and I'm going to use panel. Okay, and then I'm going to use an accordion. So when I click on it, it expands and contracts. Click and drag it out. Okay, and I want it to be kind of up here, hanging out with, just kind of in this upper right. I don't want this one, so I'm going to delete. I just want a one thing accordion. Okay, and if you're like, what the heck are accordions? They work like this. Oh, I have to, there it is. Okay, that's annoying. but they work like this. No, maybe they don't. That was fun. Let me get rid of all this junk. All right, so now it was showing up when it was big, which is bad. So now I'm going to come out here, right? And I'm going to have to click this and say, you got to select the whole thing here. Hide and breakpoint as well. So I have to hide the accordion in the normal size. Once I get to the mobile, I want it to show up, which it does. All right, so let's preview that. So it's gone now. When I get smaller, it should show up. Okay, there it is. Now the question is it going to do what it's supposed to? No. Awesome. So let's go to design. The heck? There it went. Okay. That must have been what I needed to do there. Yep. All right, so we got to go. So I got rid of all the other accordions. You can add more if you want. I don't want any more. I just want the one. It's just a weird hack way to do this, but you'll see. So now I got it. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say this can close all. And it's going to overlap the items. That's going to allow it to, when I click on it, it will expand and contract, or whatever the word is there. Okay, so I click on it, it comes out. I click on it again, it goes away, and that's what I want. Okay, the fill, I want to be nothing. I want it just to be see-through. The text, I want it to be black. Okay, and this is where things get a little weird. I don't want it to say lorem ipsum. I want it to be the hamburger menu. That's where I just kind of start laughing because it's kind of funny. So I can Google hamburger menu icon, something like that. Now I don't want a picture. I want, actually, we may want to do alt code here. Yep, because we want the Unicode. So I'm just going to copy this, because I don't know any other way of typing that out on a keyboard. So I'm going to select that, copy it, come over here, and bam. Now we have a hamburger menu. Okay, I just feel so weird doing it this way, but there's the only way I can figure it out. Okay, and then I want to, where is it? I want it to go over to the right side. Yeah, we'll take a look at that later, I guess. Okay, so now in here, I'm going to erase all this. And what I'm going to put in here is a vertical menu. Okay, so we're like stacking widgets upon widgets.
Wow.
Okay, so now I go widgets, and then I go menus, and I'm going to say vertical. Okay, so we're going to get this. And this is going to have the home, about, and contact in it. So I have this accordion. Inside the accordion, the part that expands, I'm going to click and drag vertical menu inside of there. Okay, and now I can just kind of get it to fit. Yes, I know. It's weird. Now I can kind of click and drag it up here. I'm not understanding because it was there before. Is it text? There it is. Okay, so under text I can say, bam, right justify, so now it's way over there. Okay, and everything's kind of see-through. So this background here is like a see-through transparent white. I want this to be bigger, so I can just up it to like 30. So it actually is the size that a hamburger item, you know, menu icon is usually. Okay. Heck. I don't know why it didn't stay like that. But anyways, so now we're kind of getting what I want here. So now it kind of looks like that. Now when I preview, yeah, we're going to have to play with some stuff. But now you're kind of starting to get, oh, yeah. Okay, but you are at least starting to get kind of that effect, right, of like a hamburger menu icon drop-down thing. So there are other widgets. They're called like mobile menu widgets, but one, actually it was here. I did mobile menu. This one actually looked really good because it was made by Adobe. So happy days, created by Adobe Widgets. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna get this widget. Oh, okay. That's really funny there, Muse. Let me preview it. Oh, all right, okay. So yeah, they're kind of, seems like they're shutting down Muse. That's just kind of how I felt when I tried to get this, because it was like, we're shutting down Muse and we don't support it anymore, you jerk. Is basically how I felt. So there it is. So you got the accordion menu with a vertical menu in it. Now with all of this funky stuff and the colors and all of that, I can just come back in here. Okay, go back to design and we can start just playing around with this. So I don't want there to be a stroke. Okay, remember we have these different rollover and active and all that kind of stuff, right? So now I'm on active right now. So when it's active, I just want it to, oh crap, I don't know how big it was. What, 40 something maybe? I think that's how big it was. I don't know. But now I just got to start getting in here, playing with the states to get it to work how I want it to work. But yeah, that's really the only way I could find to do it. Sometimes what people will do is take this, you know, make it all the way across. Take that, make that go all the way across. Yeah, I mean this is actually pretty standard for a drop-down menu. So you can just kind of bring it down a little bit so to where it's like under. The hard part though is now, well, I guess if I kind of did that, yeah, that actually might be okay. Yeah, that's not bad. So I preview that. Well, I'm gonna have to get rid of the stroke here, but now when I click, you know, I'm slowly getting there, kind of. But that, anyways, that's kind of the best I could find. I couldn't really find one that would like come out from the side. You just kind of had to do this drop down one. So, meh. It is what it is there. Anyway, so there you go with that. Let's pretend we're done. Definitely not. We're going to pretend we're done. Everything's beautiful. We're happy people. You know, life is just kicking butt. We're loving it. Okay. Someone's going to pay us $10 million for this. We go, sweet. We go file. Of course, we're going to save it. File, export as HTML. So when you're done, this is what you'd want to do to export it. I'm going to put this on those1kids.com, let's say. Okay, and I want this to be exported into my 8-bit folder. So I select the folder, it knows where to put it, it knows where I'm going to put it, which I really don't think that does a whole lot. Oh, okay. That's used for typekit fonts, which we didn't touch, and SEO sitemaps. We'll talk about that in a minute here, just kind of glaze over it, but I'm exporting it in that 8-bit folder. I hit OK. It thinks a little bit. Thinks kind of a lot, but I mean, really what it's doing is pretty awesome. Okay, it gives me some warnings. So the contact form is configured with an email address of Daffy. That's my personal one, which does not match the server name of thoseonekids.com. That's fine. I don't care about that. The reCAPTCHA public key is missing. Yeah, I didn't give it to him. That's fine. The private key is missing. Yep, that's fine too. So we're good. None of these errors really matter. So I'm going to hit OK. Now inside here, it just gave us a ton of crap. So there's the HTML pages for everything we just created. It gave me a sitemap. Sitemaps are used with search engine optimization. I can upload this sitemap to Google and Bing. And these sitemaps basically just talk machine talk. So this sitemap tells Google in a language that it knows very well what's on my page. So if you want your website to be very Google friendly, and you want Google to love your website and know exactly what's on it and be able to index it very well, you give it a sitemap. One of the clients I worked with a long time ago, I did a bunch of sitemap stuff for him. Last time I checked a couple months ago, he's still on the first page when you type in for Google. So that's pretty cool.
So if you don't have this form, this code, then it doesn't bring it up?
It will. It's not as likely. Because this is like giving Google, it's like Google moved into town. This is like giving Google a plate of cookies and saying, welcome. Hey, come into my house and take a look. Google goes, thank you for the cookies. Let me look at your house. Goes in there, knows everything that's in it, knows everything about your house after that, and then likes you a lot more because you gave it cookies. Okay? If you don't do this, Google can stop by your house and kind of look in and go, yeah, I see a couch, and I see, yeah, okay, you're still a jerk though because you didn't welcome me to the neighborhood. You know, so it's kind of like that. It's like giving Google, talking to Google in its language, hey, this is all the stuff that's on my site. And then it knows a lot better what's in there and how to organize it and how to index it. And it's really cool that Muse gives you that. If it didn't, there are free websites that will generate sitemaps for you. Okay, but it does the scripts. Okay, the PHP. This is all the stuff that it needs to be able to send off those emails.
That's a lot of brackets.
It's a lot of junk, yeah. Pretty amazing actually that it does all this. Okay, and then the images. Okay, those are the images I started with, but then it creates images for me when it, with all the breakpoints and stuff that I put in there.
I wonder how many things Amazon has.
Oh, geez. I wouldn't even want to know. To be a webmaster for Amazon would be crazy. To have to, can you imagine, like, have to, like, mess with all the products that they have and have them posted? And that would,
Different deals.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Anyways, and then these are all the CSS files that it generated. So now I can take all of this, upload it, and we'll do that. So FileZilla, connect here. And it won't hurt to upload the Muse file. It's just, it won't work. If I were to open this in a browser, it wouldn't do anything. But that's okay. It's good to have a backup. So I connect public HTML. Okay, and I'll just throw the 8-bit folder up there. And this will take a while to upload because there's a lot of images, a lot of files. Well, actually, it's going pretty quick. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. One file could not be transferred. Probably the Muse one, because I have it opened, maybe? I don't know. Let's see. So I'll go to it. thoseonekids.com/8bit. And it automatically names the homepage index. So it comes up by default. All right, there we go. About. There it is. Woo! This is dang ugly. Okay, contact. Okay, there's the form. Oh yeah, I forgot to. Oh, and I didn't put in the CAPTCHA stuff, so it's yelling at me for that. Like I said, if you want to do that, if you want the reCAPTCHA stuff in there, just let me know and I'll help you set that up. Okay, but there it is. Submit. Yeah, so there it is in all its 8-bit glory. And then I can test out the brakes. Yep, it broke. So you can see down there they stack now. Oh, and Chrome can't get small enough. But Firefox can. Boom, there we go. There's the slide in. Obviously not done. Would have to do a lot of tweaking. But it's not bad for making that, what, in less than an hour or something. I mean, in less than an hour, I got almost a finished website. Kind of cool. Okay, yeah. We need to stop turning the lights off because everyone wants to sleep, including me. Okay, that's it, guys. I'm done recording. So, bam, stop.